Hello and welcome to another episode of Rantz live stream. It's Crisandro, of course, and it's a big, important one. It's the Champions League group stage draw, and it's been a few years since we've been in the Champions League, of course, but we're back with a bang, and looking forward to it. Of course, to my left is my partner in crime, of course. Need to change your name at some point because I think everyone knows it wasn't you. But anyway, how you doing, Shubes?
I'm doing well, Chris. Well, thanks for having me on, man.
It's well, looking forward to this one. It's I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this to the Champions League really, but it's been about 3 years since we were last in it. Well, it will be 3 years, I guess. After going on
2019.
2019, yeah.
We went out on third. We went out in the first knockout stage against RB Leipzig.
No, it's the quarterfinals. So yeah, you're right. First knockout stage. Yeah, using technology.
Yeah, it was really weird though because I just remember, obviously we'd just won. We obviously had been in the final. We had then won wherever is it the Audi Cup or whatever it was in Germany.
Yeah.
And it was just there was such a wave of optimism and it just came crashing down around us quite quickly.
Yeah, that was a really poor period, really. I mean, off the back of getting to the final of the season before, and there was a lot of optimism around that time, but then we never built on it, and that's the worrying thing. I do apologise if you're hearing there's traffic outside my window there, but so that's been the issue, really, not taking advantage of what a prime position we were in. Especially that season, I think we finished fourth in the, I think we finished fourth in the league, didn't we?
We just about finished fourth. It was sick because one of the things that was charged against Mr. Pochettino that we hadn't won away for God knows how long. But it was I think because obviously it was All or Nothing had come out as well that year, and it was coming out that year. So although none of us really knew what it was about because we hadn't. I think people had maybe seen a City thing, but they hadn't paid that much interest as much.
Yeah.
Because obviously, first of all, you want to watch a car crash, and obviously, you don't. We're a City; they were going to win it. So, like, why do you want to watch their victory parade or something like over 9 episodes?
Yeah.
So, whereas you want to see a car crash, but no, if you contrast it, I mean, obviously, we obviously crashed out of the Champions League as part of our All or Nothing experience. And we had Arsenal failing to make the Champions League as part of their all or nothing experience. So there was a bit of, I don't know, symmetry, I guess.
And once again, we're looking forward to this draw. And I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans actually commenting on this one, saying that it doesn't matter, London's still red. That's fair enough. It's all about the perception, I guess. And you had a good start to the season. A couple of points behind at the moment. I'm not quite sure when the draw is for the Europa League. To my chagrin and my apologies, I didn't check that out. But tonight is the Champions League group stage draw, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, who do you fancy in our group if you had a choice? Because it is going to be.
Had a choice. Well, given I have no interest in really traveling to Europe that much anyway, but I think if I was to go anywhere, I would love to go to, obviously, especially in the winter months, wouldn't mind going to Portugal in the winter. Yeah. That does sound a lot better. That sounds a lot more preferable than to going to, I don't know, Munich or Frankfurt. So definitely in the southern Europe for the winter months. Interesting now, obviously Rangers are actually now in both Rangers and Celtic. Celtic go in automatically. And Rangers, surprisingly, actually managed to overcome Is it PSV or PSV? PSV. I can't. Steve McLaren. Steve McLaren. I can't do the objections. I can't. But it's no. So that'll be interesting to see. So looking at it, I mean, look, Porto would be great. But obviously, you just said where it comes from. So obviously, we all say, oh, there's history of Ajax. Well, yeah, but most of those players from that Ajax team have all pretty much left if they were good enough, and the ones that have stuck around, assuming they're not going to join Erik ten Hag and Man United, as the Glazers try to appease, Erik ten Hag and all the Man United fans. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, I'm guaranteed that Steven Bergwijn will score a hat-trick if we do play Ajax, so that's just guaranteed.
He's at the moment. He's doing so well while he's out there.
Yeah, I mean, I asked some of my friends in the depot, Dakota J Booth. I can't remember his Twitter handle. I think it's at Dakota J Booth. He wanted, I think Sevilla are in the, I can't see, they're in pot 3 or something. I can't see very well.
Sevilla, they are in pot number 2, so we can't have them.
I mean, we can't have them. So I think he wanted to be able to go to Sevilla. So hopefully we get him in the knockout rounds because he's a big fan of Spain and all that. So he wants to go. No, I mean, if you look at it, it's interesting. Because obviously, if you look at English and Spanish teams have been very dominant, and so therefore that's why there are 3 leading English teams in pot 2, literally because we have been so dominant. I think so. If someone said to me, ideally, I think the schoolboy and me would love to go to Napoli because I want to be able to go to Pompeii and go, oh, Kitty, you not.
We do get Napoli. I'm spending.
So, you know what? I just realised a whole bunch of people aren't going to get what the hell that even means, but still.
Showing your age there too.
So do you know what? So no, if I was to travel, like if I had to where would I want to travel to? I would say, okay, then Porto, because obviously for the winter months, Napoli, because I've always wanted to go to Pompeii, and you know what? It's interesting because obviously for both of us, Rangers and Celtic, because they're a lot easier to get to. We could just take the train up there, but also we take Eurostar to Brussels, to Bruges, so we can go. But I don't know. Copenhagen, obviously, that would be kind of nice to go to. Denmark's it's a very cosmopolitan city, so we wouldn't want to go there. But like I said, I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting. I mean, obviously, Bayer Leverkusen didn't they lose 5-0 or something? Bayer Leverkusen in the German league or something.
You mean in the league? Not too sure. I know that Bayern Munich have been blowing everyone away that have played, so I haven't really kept too close an eye on the Bundesliga as things stand.
I tell you what, though, PSG. It'll be interesting to see what PSG turns up because PSG they beat Lille 7-1 or something at home.
Yeah, they did.
Let's face it. I'm not being bad. PSG with their revenues, they should be. I mean, Lille actually won the title 2 years ago, and I think Christophe Galter, he then lost all his players. They're only good. They ended up being plucked to all the better teams in Europe that could afford their afford to pay much higher wages. So it'll be interesting what happens with PSG because let's face it, City and PSG they would happily, especially with PSG as well. Although they didn't win it this year, to win it in a World Cup year or something for Qatar, it will be a huge PR benefit to them to piss off Abu Dhabi's Man City and vice versa for Man City. So there are geopolitical things from this. No, I mean, I don't have any particular, because you've traveled a fair bit around Europe. Is there any places that you think, oh my God, I'd love to go here or something?
Well, I suppose, I mean, I think I've been to nearly to most of the teams there in pot 1. I mean, Ajax, of course, that semi-final in 2019. Bayern Munich went there and saw Sessegnon score our goal in that match, although we lost that one 3-1. That was in the same year that where we were trying to get back into the final again after the season before. Manchester City, of course. Well, we can't play them anyway. Milan, and I says Milan there. Sorry, this one's been ripped off the German website. I do apologise. The Milan, obviously, that famous game in 2011 where Peter Crouch scored after a great break from Aaron Lennon in the San Siro.
See, I remember that more. I remember that more for Gattuso, thinking Yeah, I'm
We'll
gonna
get
pick a fight with someone. Why don't I pick a fight? So who's the least toughest guy I can pick a fight with? I know, Joe Jordan. I was like, dude, like of all the people to pick a fight with, Joe Jordan. This guy apparently he lost teeth until I don't know, but he's famous for his fights in Italy.
Yeah,
It's not as if he had a reputation here or something. His reputation, but he's got an even bigger reputation in Italy as well for fights. So
exactly. It's not as if, yeah,
it's not as if, and he should know that he played for Milan. Do you know what I mean? He's like a Milan,
yeah.
not legend, but he's definitely someone that people would know of. So
Exactly that.
uh,
So the only place I haven't been to there in Pot One are probably Porto, FC Porto, and Paris Saint Germain.
Frankfurt. What about Frankfurt? Have you been there?
Frankfurt. Oh no, I haven't been to Frankfurt. No, that's in like the Royal Bells drive. I've been to the stadium, but obviously not to see a match. I'm just going to pass through it. So yeah, there's three teams there that I could look forward to seeing. Out of the choice, probably I'd say Frankfurt, but obviously they are Europa League champions, so that's why of course they're in the Champions League. The least favourite out of the sides that I've been visited, probably Paris Saint Germain. I'll say that. Although, well, I'm not afraid of Paris. No, there's actually nothing to fear about Paris Saint Germain. Probably Porto are probably the ones that I'm more worried about because they're an entity that we don't really know too much of. We know that they're good in Portugal and they have some good results in Europe.
They actually sold their best player apparently to PSG. Apparently, that's
Yeah.
even though they made the Champions League, because they were talking about him. But apparently, he's this player called Vitinha. He actually went to Wolves, and essentially, I think what was it? Nuno Espirito Santo didn't fancy him, and then I'm trying to call it Bruno Lage as well was like, no, you're not really the player for me. And then he went to Porto, did really well, and now that engineered his move to PSG, and he's doing quite well for them there. It's interesting to see. I mean, for me, PSG. I mean, apparently it was a bit of a pantomime, but apparently a lot of that was due to Leonardo. So now that he's gone, and now that they have the Monaco, the man credited with a lot of the Monaco success as the football director, that will be interesting to see how that happens. I mean, like I said, I think one of the things that PSG have always had is that because they win their league at a canter, what happens is it's very hard to even if you because you play you're rested because obviously you can rest your players, but that mental energy, that edge you need to play and to win, it's very hard for them to find. Sometimes that's been the argument against them. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Do you know what? I think it's very hard to predict what's going to happen. I mean, like I remember when we got picked Man City I thought, oh my lord, we're going to get slacked here. Do you know what I mean? And that was, and you had Carl Walker like giving it that. But I always say, do you know what? If I always say it was us being at the lane that really helped. I was at the lane, obviously not from I was at the lane for the Wolves game, and it's just how long ago it's been. I actually had no idea about digital passes, digital wallets, or any of that shit. I still thought, oh, do you know what? I'll print it off. I think, oh, I can't print it off. Oh, okay. Well, I'll use my card. Oh, I can't see it on my app. And it's just like, no, it's completely changed. I was like, and I remember saying to the lady at the ticket office, I went, and I said, no, you've got to do this and do this. He goes, oh yeah, we sent you an email back in probably February or something. I was like, yeah, I wasn't in the country at the time, and I wasn't even thinking of going to games because obviously it was COVID and I hadn't had my third jab and all that kind of shit. So it'll be interesting because obviously, we're opposite out of the EU. We're not in Schengen, and there's a lot more hassle to travel. Although apparently it's nothing to do with Brexit. It's all to do with foreigners. Apparently, it's always the foreigners' fault for us traveling. So that'll probably make it hard for us to travel outside of Europe. But no, I mean it's going to be. I mean for me, obviously. I think on Ndombele, if we get Napoli, there's no way Ndombele doesn't have a fantastic performance against us. It's just guaranteed he's going to score a goal against us. Do you know what I mean? It's just, and apparently because he scored an absolute blinder against some Serie B team.
Because Juve Stabia, I think it was, and it was a great. He goes to pass a player, and then I never seen him hit a ball so hard. It just rifled past the keeper. Nothing the keeper could do. That was an amazing strike. And
well, it's like the goal he scored against Sheffield United. It was absolutely beautiful. And we knew we knew the player had talent, but ultimately, my friend Andrew, who you can contact at Astecker at Tottenham Depot on the podcast, he says, look, availability is your best ability, which is true, as in like physically fit. But one thing that I listened to a wrestling podcast, and there's a guy called Jim Ross who was basically he was head of talent relations at the WWF for nearly 15 years, 20 years. And one of the things he used to say was reliability is your best ability. Can I rely on you to give me a performance? And with Tonki and Dombele, he could not be relied upon. He couldn't be, and that's what happened. I mean, if there are players who I'm looking forward to seeing, I mean, obviously Real Madrid, it will be amazing to play against them. They had trouble actually in the group stages. They lost to a couple of matches actually. They played some Ukrainian team or something, and they lost something, and they just about made the group stages. Or they qualified top. I
thought it was a Romanian team. It was Sheriff Tiraspol, wasn't it?
Oh, so something like that. It was some Eastern European side, but they were able to put it together, and it was basically they defied the odds. I mean, they were basically trying to sign Mbappe for, was it 50 million? PSG said no, you can't have him, and there was a whole like spectre over it. You had Benzema, who's I believe is 35, 36. He's 36 now. He's 35. And it was all about, oh, can he do it? Can he do it? And it just all came together, and it was just to see what they did. It was amazing. I think obviously Juve, obviously it'll be interesting. Obviously, we obviously can't. Actually, we could play Juve actually, so that'll be interesting for.
Well, you really know that we're in the same spot, so we can't play them.
Oh no, we can't play them. So we can't play them. Sorry, we can play them in the knockouts. But I'm trying to think who we can actually play. Actually, I don't know anything about Maccabi Haifa. Are they the team that we played in the Conference League?
They were.
Facebook, right? No, it's non-existent. I don't know that was. Thank you. Yeah. Do we play in the Europa Conference or League to qualify to get into that?
Yeah, we beat them 7-2 during COVID times. So no fans there.
But that was Maccabi, right? So that was because I actually met a couple of Maccabi fans.
Maccabi Haifa,
Actually, well, I think they'll happen to be in the because basically nobody was going to pay for Premier Sports. So like, fuck that shit, I'm going to pay for Premier Sports. So we just watched it in the Antwerp. Oh no, we didn't watch it in the Antwerp. We did not watch it in the Antwerp on a legal feed.
It's okay. You're prosecuting for it now. As time's gone soon.
And anyway, and they were asking, and so obviously it's just that transformation. Like Glasgow Rangers haven't qualified for years for that competition. Obviously, I think they didn't qualify, and then afterwards, the fact that the guy who bought them had no money was then soon found out or something. I don't know how it worked, but then they were relegated down to the second division or third division of the Scottish tier or something, and it was like a real like very similar to Juve actually. Obviously, what happened to them? They were able to get back up, but like I said, it shows how interesting it can be because you can go from zero to hero and hero to zero. There's like Aston Villa. Aston Villa, I think they won it in '83, the European Cup.
82,
and then they were relegated 4 or 5 years later. So that's you can go from Kings of Europe.
68, and then we're down in 10 years. So
10 years. Yeah. But I think 5 years though. Imagine in 5 years going from being Kings of Europe, being relegated within 5 years. I'm not saying that could happen. And I remember saying that I'm not saying that could happen to us, but there were moments under we were playing so poor in the Nuno. Let's face it. Last season, I just thought let's just get out of this Conference League, get back in the Europa, and then from the Europa get back into the Champions League. And the transformation that we've seen, it's bonkers. It was really weird because I've also said some bad things about Conte. Like I was very worried about both Conte and Paratici. I thought Paratici signed Aaron Ramsey for bonkers money. He signed Adrian Rabiot for bonkers money. And I thought, well, there's no way you can sign for bonkers money. Anyone, Daniel Levy, he won't let you do that. And then Conte is like, well, if you don't give me the players I want, I walk. He's famous for getting into Barney's with everybody, which is why I don't think we're recruiting him. And apparently, Eric Haag had a really bad interview. That guy, Diego Simeone, not Diego Simeone. There was a guy at Lazio, apparently. He had like a really bad interview or something. And it was absolutely. I mean, if you contrast to where we were last year, I don't think COVID restrictions had been fully lifted by that time, was it? COVID restrictions had been lifted by then? I can't remember.
Not too sure, no.
And because I remember I'd gone to a game at Stevenage to watch. Literally, because at that time we couldn't even leave the country. At the time, it was almost impossible to get flights and to get out of the country. So I went to Stevenage, and just the transformation. I mean, obviously, I saw Danny Rose there, and it was like, whatchamacallit, I saw Dane Scarlett, and I mean, like Dillian McInday, who's now playing at Blackburn Rovers, and a whole bunch of Chelsea players.
Yeah, no, that's true. Looks like they're now doing the introductions, the lengthy introductions that they like to do at UEFA. So I know that the draw's about roughly 5-6 minutes away. So we shall see what happens there.
They take absolutely ages. They're gonna like interview, like they're gonna do like their awards, like midfielder of the year, player of the tournament, all that kind of crap, and none of us give a shit about that. Not really. It's just UEFA trying to say, look, because I think this was the first. No, the draw last year was for the Super League. Was just after the Super League debacle, and that was. I don't pay any attention to that at all. I mean, why would I? Obviously, but if you look at it, Man United have gone from being in that to now being in the Europa League, and I think they're on 3 points, having been slapped 2-0 and 4-0 away. And you've got Liverpool, they're not going to get relegated. I don't care what anyone says. Liverpool are not going to get relegated, but they are in the bottom three, which is absolutely hilarious for those of us who don't like Liverpool.
They're 16th at the moment. Yeah, so they're just two places above it.
Well, hopefully Bournemouth can do us a favour. Yeah,
we shall see. I don't think they've got the strength to do anything. They'll probably go back down. But yeah, it's well, that's a reminder for everyone who wants to know the teams that are now in the Champions League. Of course, I didn't mention pot one. The sides that I like to see, I like to play probably Frankfurt there. Pot two, obviously, will be us. 3, been to Dortmund, haven't been to Salzburg. Shakhtar Donetsk will be playing their games in Poland, from what I understand. And then there's Inter Milan, so it's Inter Milan. Obviously, there's German.
Inter Milan. Actually, interesting. I wonder if we play them, because obviously that is his Conte's old team, and that would be interesting if we do play them. I must admit, but the Salzburg, I don't know. I would actually, you know what? Even though I'm not really into Europe, I would actually, if I could get away tickets to that game, I'd go, as long as the weather wasn't too cold, because I like the sound of the music. So that's why I do that.
I quite enjoyed it, and I know a lot of Spurs fans didn't for some reason, but I quite enjoyed it. There's lots of parks, lots of things to do while you're out there. It's a nice little city.
You'll see doe, a deer, a female deer. Tea, that's not a drink to have a jam and bread. Me and name a call my own. Oh, hold on, I'll wait till
anyway, but Naples is the one I'm looking at. Neapel is written there in the German. But Napoli, I like to go there. Sporting Club de Portugal, based in Lisbon. Obviously, I went to Benfica when we were in the Europa League. That was the second round, or was it a quarterfinal? I can't remember, but that was a Europa League some 6 years ago, I think it was. Lovely city. I wouldn't mind going there again, actually. Bayer Leverkusen, I know one of our Spurs friends in the group is a big Bayer Leverkusen fan and season ticket holder as well, and a Spurs fan. Well, hello to you there. And Benfica, who I just mentioned a moment or so ago. So, big teams there in pot three. Side I probably would like to go to. I haven't been to Austria, so Salzburg will be a good journey. But Napoli is a team I'm looking at, just because I know they'll provide a test, but I also want to visit that place as well. And then you got pot four. Can't look past Celtic. They're like my third team, really. If I had a team in Scotland, Celtic will be it.
Oh, Celtic is that'll be interesting if they play us, because Celtic have interesting political leanings, and we have a very unique identity. So I'm just wondering when you may see certain watermelon flags at Celtic. So for me, that would be hilarious should that happen. Honestly, that would.
Green,
honestly,
white flags that fly freely in Celtic. Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
So yeah, the red, green, white, and black flags. The watermelon flag. So that will be interesting. I'll tell you that much. But no, I mean, like I said, I just think there's obviously interest in. Celtic. I don't know if I know obviously Cameron Carter-Vickers obviously played for them. Obviously, Joe Hart is there now, I believe. Is Joe Hart? You want Pisen? Great food. Do you know what? Great brewery. I've not actually had. I don't know what Czech food actually is, but I've had Czech beer and I don't mind that at all. So yeah, it's a good call.
I imagine it's just lots of sausages. I don't know why. I know that's Germany as well, but I just imagine the Czech Republic would be lots of sausages as well. I mean, I know my sister actually went to the Czech Republic some years ago, so I might hit her up on that so I find out what they do. But yeah,
I'll be honest. It's really weird. I went to the last time I was in Germany was for a friend of ours, Erland, he was getting married to his lovely wife, and his name I forgot. I was at her wedding, but so basically the thing is, Erland's wedding. He's from Munich, but no, it's just like I said. It's just about seeing the people you can see, really. I mean, I think that's one of the good things. I mean, Cameron Carter-Vickers played for Celtic. Fraser Forster came from Celtic, didn't he? Didn't he come from Celtic? Or he played at Celtic, so that'll be interesting for him. But no, I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens because I mean, I don't know. Looking forward to it. I don't know what other links we have really. But I remember the food actually in Germany. And the reason I remember the food because I had the Germans love their pastry. German bakery is fantastic. Absolutely great. The coffee is great. The bread, but the German food itself,
it is exemplary.
Unless you like sausage, which I can't eat, it's definitely not for me, unfortunately. So
my sister and I went out to I think we stayed in Cologne and we played Borussia Dortmund. And yeah, literally most of the most of the food that we had there was either sausage or sausage based. It was just if for all you meat lovers, it's a paradise. Trust me.
For pork meat lovers, yeah, it's a real paradise. But for those of us who can't eat pork, it can be a little bit difficult. But no, like I said, the German people are great. The reason I remember that because I was in Germany for the World Cup. That was my first time in Germany. And I went to a Mexican restaurant that was being run by Bangladeshis.
Yeah.
In Berlin, and I was like, "You got to be shitting me! How on earth is it big?" But yeah, and the funny thing was, I was doing a translation job because I had this. So basically, we had a guy I was staying with. So he was German, Spanish. He spoke both English, Spanish, and German, and he was translating for the Spanish lady. So basically, I was translating what this lady was saying from Bengali into English. Then telling him, he was then translating into English into Spanish, and it was like a 3-day conversation. That's the thing about football; it gets people together, and hopefully, people are going to go out. They're not going to be dicks. They're going to have a good time. They're not going to. I mean, hopefully, we won't do what I mean is usual for many Brits anyway, to basically go out and camp out and not really mix with locals. Obviously, in Lazio, especially in Lazio in Rome. You want to be careful doing that, especially if Lazio fans. But you want to be very, very careful to do that.
At the moment, well, thanks everyone for watching. We're going live here on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitter. So thank you all for tuning in. Currently, they're doing the President's Awards out in the draw's being held in Turkey, in Istanbul. That's where the final's going to be held. And they're currently doing the President's Awards, dishing out mini World Cups to loads of people that probably haven't heard of. Arrigo Sacchi's on the screen at the moment, famous Italian manager.
Oh, yeah.
A famous manager for Milan as well. In the 18th
Was it 3 European Cups in a row or something? Something ridiculous.
Yeah.
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 And he actually changed, if you think about, he obviously, because if you think, although he used a very antiquated system in terms of, for now, 4-4-2, it was his idea of pressing that revolutionized how, if you look at way football is played now, all teams press like that. But in those days, the idea of pressing, I mean, I remember, I can't remember, I think it was a game versus Liverpool versus Everton. And I was like, why are they not chasing down the ball? They're just jogging around. And I was like 7. I was thinking, why are they not pressing? And I was like 7. Obviously, I was clearly ahead of my time, but it was just watching it. But I'm saying the way every team presses now. So Milan are interesting because those of you who don't know, Milan were bought by, I think, using was it a leveraged buyout, and then the company that the guy who owned them basically couldn't repay his debts. So Elliott Capital Management basically took over the club, and I think they've now been sold. But basically, they've had there's a couple of tough years, but they've now managed to get back in the Champions League. And that's kind of what they were looking for, because it's incredible that even though you're in the Champions League, that still isn't enough money for a lot of these clubs. You know, that's why we have the Super League. You know, that's why we have it.
Yeah, that's why they're one of the biggest proponents of it, Milan, and they're going to
Milan, Juve, Barcelona, Real Madrid. So it's interesting because obviously it's the Champions League, the revenues, just like, so I bought my ticket today for what should I call it, for the Fulham game. 60 quid. I'm in the Park Lane lower, pretty decent. It's expensive, but yeah, 60 quid. I saw some tickets in the West Stand. Someone was trying to charge 230 quid. I thought, fuck, I ain't paying that for the West Stand. Fulham. But there will be games. I mean, I remember going to Wembley, and you were able to get those tickets for, I think they were doing a really good deal at the time. If you got all 3 tickets, you could go to, I don't know if they'll do that again this year, because obviously this is the first time we're going to be in. They are doing that.
Yeah, I just had an email from the saying that that my details were out of date. I need to update it. So I think that is their plan. They're literally just going to do it automatically out of your account.
So I mean, I'm interested to see what they do, because obviously those of you guys know I actually live 3 miles away from the lane. So I was really funny. Everyone was like complaining about the traffic, and I was like, yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm just walking here. But so yeah, I actually, but it was. I think it'll be interesting, because I think that stadium was designed for the Champions League. Obviously we had Champions League football in there. It didn't go to plan, but that was the reason we had the Champions League. And then obviously COVID hit, and that changed everything for at least 2 years anyway for us.
Yeah.
Or at least for a year anyway. And but at least 12 to 18 months. And no, obviously people are back in stadiums. They're going out even more in force than they ever used to. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what happens. I think it was interesting because obviously Rangers didn't know that they were going to be in the Champions League until obviously last night. So it'll be interesting to see what transfers they do, because I think for a lot of clubs, like I think Benfica kind of knew they were going to be in the Champions League, but they have to always sell at least one player per year. And that player, I think, was Darwin Núñez last year. That's who they sold to keep the lights on, basically. And they have to, even if they're in the Champions League or not, they have to sell at least one player a season. So it'll be interesting to see who they push this season, because the Champions League is often a shop window for them. I'm not saying they can't win it. I'm sure they'd love to win it and go all the way. But that is what the Champions League is. Sometimes I think you've got your top 1 teams, obviously Chelsea and Barcelona, despite their financial problems, they could be sort of a favourite. Liverpool obviously made the final, very unlucky to lose it, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a lot of teams, this is a shop window. Champions League is the ultimate shop window, especially if you're a Porto, if you're a Benfica. I mean, for Maccabi Haifa, I don't know if any of their players are. I mean, for me, if you said to me, I want the easiest group. I want to. Then I'll play. I'll have Maccabi Haifa. I'll have Eintracht Frankfurt, and I'll have Red Bull Salzburg. But again, I remember when we got Monaco when we first got around the Champions League in 2016, and we thought, we beat Monaco 4-1 or something. And and this was a team that the year before had actually knocked out Arsenal. So they thought they're on the download now. That's why they're doing this. They sold Martial. They're really missing him. And then the next year, I remember going to Wembley, and I was thinking, bloody hell, who the hell all these players? And if you look at all these Monaco players, I mean, I think most of them obviously have now left Monaco. They've gone to apart from they've gone to was it Real Madrid, Liverpool, Fabinho, Bernardo Silva went to Man City, Mbappe obviously left. So many of their players just literally up sticks and just did brilliantly. But
so they're now bringing out a few of the famous players now. I think the draw's got to happen in the next 5 minutes. And I said that 5 minutes ago. Hamid Altentop's just been wheeled onto the stage, being interviewed by one of the interviewers, and then also our new coach, one of our youth coaches, Yaya Toure, has just come on as well. So they're having a nice.
He won the Champions League with Barcelona, and he obviously. I mean, I'm interested to see what happens because I tell you what, I do look forward to. I actually didn't know about the UEFA Youth League in terms of so that's where I first saw Oliver Skipp play, and that was where I first saw him. And I remember, and there were a few other players that stood out. Keenan Bennett stood out as well, but Oliver Skipp was the player that stood out the most. And it was, and I thought, well, yeah, but if this kid could, I think he was 16 at the time. I think Oliver Skipp, 15 or 16. He was very, very young, and but he just seemed to have a quality about him. He seemed to have. I thought this kid will do well. Whether he does well enough to play for the Premier League or for us, no idea. But yeah, and then I remember, was it Boy Parrott scored 5 goals against, I think, Red Star Belgrade or something. They scored about 4 or 5 goals or something against. But as I said, it'd be interesting. So for me, I think, and obviously for those of us who have Spurs play, I mean, it'd be interesting to see. Cause obviously, we get to see these players on Spurs play. We'll obviously get to see them again in the UEFA Youth League. If you guys have the time, I won't, but some people will have the time. So I look forward to seeing
games in that case. Yeah, has to be done, and especially in Europe because the last game I went in the Europa Youth League, we played Bayern Munich at their nice little campus stadium where I think the women and the kids play, and we got absolutely humbled 3-0. It was quite an eye-opening, that one.
Yeah,
and then hours later we went down to the Allianz Arena and then saw Bayern Munich beat us 3-1. But the youth league is quite a big competition. We've obviously been out of it for the last 2 and a bit years because it can only qualify for it if the men's team actually qualify for the Champions League. So it's good to have us back in it this season.
And I think it's a really good platform because not all of these kids will have the chance to. I mean, they're obviously there's reserve football, and obviously there'll be eyes on them. But I think just in terms of about that, you can. I don't know whether you can attract players to say, do you know what? We are in the Europa. We are in the Champions League. So if you're a young player, you're like, well, you want to join us because now we can play you in the Champions League. You go through.
Yeah, very true. Very true. At the moment, they're still kind of doing their introductions.
They're basically waiting ages for. They're going to make it. They're going to basically have. Look, we're all playing with our balls, waiting for UEFA guys to play with their balls. Basically, that's how it works.
Yeah. It's just. I don't know why everything has to be so damn long with the UEFA. It's just
What you're wondering why a bunch of arrogant bureaucrats are being boring and long-winded. You're surprised by that?
It's just
seriously.
It's just some things just want them to just kind of hurry up with. It's just we're here for the draw, not here to hear about a player that's retired 10 years ago and wondering how he's doing. We wanted to find out.
This is UEFA basically. It's all about UEFA right now. It's all about UEFA, and they're going to milk it for as much as they can. Especially the fact that they've got that thing going on. Was it with the European Super League, like Real Madrid in the European Court of Justice? They want to say, look how wonderful UEFA is, the pomp, the pageantry, blah 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 blah. It's as much for the legal case as it is for. I bet you some of this stuff will be used in the legal case they have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, more than likely. Okay, well, thanks everyone for watching. It's going out live again on Facebook in the Tottenham Supplement group. Make sure you join that as well. We have some decent discussions on there, and all Spurs fans are welcome. There are all types of Spurs fans. You know, whether you're the optimist or whether you're the pessimist, or whatever. Yeah, everyone's welcome. YouTube. We're on YouTube, of course, on YouTube. And then also live on our Twitter page as well. So we're going all out there. There is the Champions League group stage draw, and the main guy, I keep forgetting his name, the main guy, I can't remember the compare of the whole thing. He's now up and he's now chatting about how the draw will work, I think. At least I hope he is. So we should hopefully, in the next 3 to 4 hours, get the first ball drawn out. But,
yeah, I can't believe I'm waiting for some guy to get his balls out. That's just wrong, but still.
And as for the Tottenham Supplement After Dark, ladies and gentlemen, just pay the £5 and you get to see some wonderful sights. But it is.
Well, that was a bit of a Jim Davidson gag, so that was awful. Very, very lowest common denominator, but still.
It is still a thing. Okay. So it looks like they're now going to run through the all the teams again, and they're just talking about how the pots now work, and let us know which teams are in the pots and how they'll all be distributed within the groups. I think we know how it all works by now, but if you don't, they will draw pot one first, and so they'll literally match the teams with the group. So everyone in pot one will literally go into position one in each of the groups. There's going to be 8 groups labeled A to H, and so once that is done, they'll then move on to pot two. The teams in pot one, if they're 2 teams from the same association, of course, then they will be split into what will be known as red group and will be known as blue group. So red groups A to D and blue groups E to H. That's all for television, really, so they can maximize the amount of money they can make out of the fans.
It's shocking, isn't it? It's shocking, so surprising.
So that's going to have your house, and then they're going to move in from each of the pots, put out the teams, and then if there is a clash in one particular group, then they'll just move on to the next group. So if for example, Spurs are drawn out of pot 2 and Manchester City are in A1, for example, and we get drawn with A2, we'll then move into the next one, which will be B2. So that should hopefully work out. As there's 4 teams, I think that should make things a little bit simpler, really. So there'll be 2 English sides in the red group and then 2 English sides in the blue group. You're all with me there? So
but you know what? I'll be honest. For me, of those of you guys know, I have a real passion for fitness. So, but that'll go to pot because I'm just going to be watching a lot of like Tuesdays and Wednesday nights. Literally, just be watching God knows how much football. Because it's something that, you know, even though I don't like UEFA and everything else, just to watch some of these really good sides and playing some really like top draw football. Yeah, that's what the Champions League is all about. Do you know what I mean? That's why you pay. There's so much money involved. I mean, there are ties. You look at that, and they're just real salivating. I mean, I'm trying to think in terms of European giants. I mean, the only European giant that is not there is for me is obviously Man United. That's the only European giant that isn't there. But aside from that, I mean, you've got and do you know what? Although you know the Gooners will say that we're not there as well, and I'm like, yeah, well, they obviously they had some European pedigree. I mean, they for years actually they were pot 1 sides because obviously that's the way UEFA did it. Because if they kept doing so, they kept being so successful. But now they've changed it, so no, to make it a bit unfairer to the other teams. But no, I mean, I'm looking forward to this. I mean,
Interesting.
right,
I know that's Debs there. You might know her if you're all in the Spurs fraternity. Debs Tompkinson. That's her.
Yeah,
That's her.
I can't really shake your balls. Yeah. You know what? Don't tempt me, because I actually will drop Trout and actually get them out. For those, but Debs is lovely. She's so I'll tell you a funny story. So back when we were in the Champions League, and this is a long time ago. This is, I think, so we were still on the Poch at the time. That's how long ago it was. So my friends from Arizona came over, Joey and Steph, and I took him around. I took him through like the Antwerp, all the Spurs pubs, stuff like that. And then I said, took everyone to the coach pre-game, and then basically what I did was I said, I want you to meet someone from the true north of England. I said, yeah, welcome. This is Yorkshire Spurs. It's just ballistic. They'd be from the Red Rose country. I was like, yeah, because I'm forgetting. And if you're wondering why I'm saying this now, this whole fucking thing, waiting for them to get the bloody balls out, is boring as fuck. All right, I'm sorry, it really is. Any way to liven it up is just going to be better. Sorry.
But there are balls now from pot one, but looks of it. Or let's speak to the compare again, who's going to tell us how they're going to draw the balls out. UEFA, just keep being you, eh? Again, we're going live here on the Facebook Tottenham Supplement group, live on the Tottenham Supplement YouTube channel, and live on Tottenham Supplement Twitter. And Yaya Toure is about to get the first ball out, as it were. So now the draw begins. Okay, so the first ball out is Ajax Amsterdam.
Ajax Amsterdam.
That's close enough.
Yeah.
And Van der Sar there is looking quite dapper there in his grey hair and his grey beard. I mean, I know he was a Man United legend and Ajax legend, but I'm probably Ajax legend, and Van der Sar there, great goalkeeper.
And Fulham as well. And Fulham legend as well. Can't leave them out.
Yeah. Well, he started, didn't he, in England? Then he went to Manchester United. Okay. All right. So that's Ajax there in A1. Porto have been drawn in A2. So not A2, B1. Excuse me. And Yaya Toure is now coming up with the next one. All right, yeah, we're hurrying, Debs, we're hurrying. Bayern Munich have drawn in C1. So that's the three teams there, Pat. So that's Sadio Mane's new side, of course. You may remember.
Hi, Sadio Mane, the guy who ended up breaking our hearts.
In a moment, once all the 8 teams have been drawn, they'll scroll on the bottom of the of our ticker tape. So we'll keep you up to date with it all. D1 is Eintracht Frankfurt. So there we go. I'm not quite sure if Eintracht Frankfurt have been in Champions League before, but if not, welcome to the Champions League. Of course, they are here because they won the Europa League. Is it Rangers in the final? Yeah, it was there when they beat Rangers in the final.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing is though, if Rangers had actually won that, they would have been in pot one. Could you imagine Scottish team in pot one? Seriously.
Allow it, man.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. It's just so unusual. I mean, like, I think this is going to be. I mean, literally, because a lot of teams actually literally they bank on being in the group stages because that's their way of constantly winning their leagues. Is by basically constantly being in the group stages, and therefore, make it a good draw for us. See, I'm all out of brown envelopes, unfortunately, so can't exactly help you with that, mate.
By the way, Milan have been drawn in E1, so they're in Group E. They'll be in the blue group.
Interesting, because Milan actually they were. I think they went out to Arsenal, didn't they, a couple of years ago in the Europa League or something? They were in the Europa League or something. Was it last year or the year before that? 20. And they lost out to Arsenal. But the thing that I remember about that was that
Real Madrid F1, by the way.
They won the league by about a couple of points, and then Inter, and they had not been in Europe. I don't think they were in Europe last year. And again, they're a team that will basically they were the team that would like spend loads of money, bought in Lentini, back in those guys, bought Baggio, made Shevchenko, those kind of players made huge signings. And obviously, they're not that team anymore. No one in Italy can be that team anymore.
Yeah, true, very true. Paris Saint-Germain are in H1. If you missed it, Manchester City are in G1, so they're in Group G. So that's all the seeded sides. The sides in pot 1, all done.
This is where we can start to get interested now, isn't it? This is where we get interested now, isn't it, for us?
This is where the money gets earned. Now they're steaming through the pots now. It's weird, that. So pot 2, got Liverpool, you got Spurs, you got Chelsea as well.
You know what? That's if you look at that, you've got Atletico. That is some really good. I mean, you've got Atletico, Barcelona. Obviously, they've had their issues, but Chelsea, we know how good they can be, especially when they play us. Liverpool. I mean, that is. I'm just saying, obviously, and there's us as well. But whoever gets, like say Chelsea, whoever gets like Chelsea or Liverpool, Atletico Madrid in pot 2, or Barcelona. I mean, that's going to if you're a pot 3 team and you get them, you're like thinking, oh my lord. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it wasn't hard now, it's going to be even tougher. So I'll be interested to see what happens to Shakhtar Donetsk, because you can't. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to be flying to Ukraine to play games. I mean, you can't fly someone to an active war zone, can you? So how do they even play their games?
They'll be playing it in Poland. They'll be playing it in Łódź, Poland. I think that's where they played their qualifying game. So yeah, I imagine that'll be the same.
That'd be interesting. I mean, obviously, I think a lot of their players ended up. Some players, I don't know if it was Donetsk or another Ukrainian team, but a lot of their players ended up leaving. Because obviously, look, it's not safe for us to be here. We're not going to stay here. We're out of here. And so, and I think there's some legal cases. There's all kinds of crap going on. So, and interesting. Obviously, there are no Russian sides because of, obviously, the war in Ukraine right now.
True. Leipzig have just been drawn out. Just waiting to see which group they'll be put in. So they can only go in E, F, G, or H by the looks of it. And Deb's saying that she's a bit scared who we're going to get. Embrace it, I say. Embrace it.
See, I don't really look. I'm not really scared because things I don't know. Do you know what's going to happen is going to happen. Do you know what I mean? So I don't get scared of who we're going to get. I mean, I respect who we're going to get. I don't because I know. Look, we beat Man City. We're the only team to beat Man City home and away last season.
Rebeth.
Yeah. So and Man City could have easily gone on. Could have easily gone. And the funny thing is, Man City. You should have beaten Real Madrid, didn't, put their chances away. Real Madrid ended up winning somehow. And the funny thing is, Man City would have probably lost to Liverpool in that cup final as well. Yeah, because I think they lost to Liverpool in the cup semi-final. I think I know they weren't playing. Neither team were playing their best teams or something, but it was just it was interesting to see how that works out. So
Juventus, they only have G or H.
So who'd like to get drawn in? Which part of that?
In Group F, they're with Real Madrid as things stand.
Oh, that's going to be fun for Leipzig. First time I did RB Leipzig. I mean, the Leipzig are all about. I mean, literally. I mean, if you're saying Red Bull, Red Bull Leipzig are allowed to play Red Bull Salzburg out of curiosity because they're owned by the same company.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I thought there's like a conflict or something. Juventus have been drawn in the same group as Paris Saint-Germain.
That was, I must admit, that was a game that I think Chrissie wanted to avoid. I mean, obviously that means that at least Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Milan. But I mean, obviously we could get Real Madrid, we could get Bayern Munich. But as long as we don't get either of those two teams, obviously, then I'm not really worried about.
Spurs are out.
Not already. Oh my god! Oh my god! We're out already.
We got either A, B, C, D, or E. So we've got a whole range.
Drum roll.
So is it going to be Ajax? Is it going to be Porto? Bayern Munich still there, or is it Eintracht Frankfurt? Hopefully, Group D. Here we go. Out in top has got the ball out. He's struggling to open it. He's now opened it. And we're going to be in position D. Frankfurt. Yes.
Oh, that's not bad at all. That is not. Do you know what? That is. I'm not going to underestimate Frankfurt. I'm not going to underestimate Frankfurt. But that, Frank. I must admit, I've not actually been to. I've been to Munich and I've been to Berlin. I've not been to Frankfurt. So I'll be interested to see if I can try and whatchamacallit. If we do, obviously, we fancy going to Europe.
Yes, you have to come.
I don't know because I'm actually trying to go away at the moment, so I don't know if I'll get that much more time off. But no, it's do you know what? But for me, it's like, do you know what? Hopefully, I forgot. Ireland will be coming over. But yeah, we avoided Real Madrid, we avoided Bayern Munich, and that was that's.
You pay for Liverpool.
Real Madrid play Liverpool.
Liverpool will be drawn against with Ajax.
I think Ajax are probably not happy with that at all.
I think Ajax could take Liverpool at home, but they will probably get battered away. That's how I see it.
I honestly wonder, will Steven Bergwijn put his ghost to rest and actually finish his chances at Anfield? Because that was honestly, it was really interesting because that season, was the season it all kind of went wrong for him. He lost a lot of his confidence, and then he had injuries, and I think he hit the post a couple of times because he was and they never really got back. Yeah,
it's true. It's true. But that'll be a nice redemption game.
Yeah.
So so Sevilla either A, B, or D. I think it was, or G. Sorry.
I think I don't want to say Eintracht Frankfurt. I mean, obviously they have a player. Is it Kostic? Who G. I think I don't know if they moved. I don't know. My friend Caroline.
City's group. So carry on.
So Sevilla, that'd be interesting. Sevilla are Lamela. Oh my God, who's going to kick first? I don't think he even starts for Sevilla anymore.
He's got to that age.
He's got to that age, but the level of shithousery. I love the fact that those who don't remember, the game we had against, there was a fight obviously that happened on the pitch, or not a fight, like handbags, and literally it was Lamela, Romero, and Richarlison who were trying to defuse the fight. And I'm thinking, normally you're the ones that are causing the fight or actually throwing the first punch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly that. Barcelona will be in Group C with Bayern Munich.
Lewandowski!
I want to see another 8-2 because at this point in time, the way Barcelona are treating their players, I absolutely hate them.
Do you know what? Do you remember I remember this is when I think it was 2011, and everyone was loving Barcelona. They were they were UNICEF. The UNICEF were on their shirts, but they were paying UNICEF for the privilege of having UNICEF on their shirts. It wasn't like UNICEF were paying
Chelsea.
them. So who Chelsea? Chelsea get Real Madrid, please.
They'll be in. No, they'll be in Group B, won't they? So they'll be with Porto.
Oh, that's very good. That's actually a good tie for Chelsea then.
I didn't see Group E there. They've been drawn in Group E. They will be with Milan.
That'll be interesting actually, because Milan, they're obviously back in the Champions League, but I think Chelsea will be happy with that one as well. Not happy as we are, but Chelsea will be very happy with that, because I think they can beat Milan easily. They're not Milan. They're just back into it. They haven't got the funding. I think they lost Chrissie. I think is his name. They lost Chrissie to whatchamacallit, Barcelona. Although I don't know if they can register him or not.
I think they actually no. I don't think they can at the moment.
I know they can't register Koundé, but I think if Aubameyang leaves them, then they can register him. They can register Koundé or something. But it'll be interesting, because literally, imagine you can't even do a pre-season. If you're like Barcelona, how the hell do you even plan? You don't even know what players you have available to you.
Yeah, exactly. But there you go. There's the groups at the bottom there. So that's the teams that have been confirmed. And now looking at pot 3, Salzburg are in there, the team that I want to really go and visit the most out of those sides there in pot 3.
Well, we obviously can't get by Leverkusen, so I would. So I'm hoping. Obviously, we can't get by Leverkusen. We can't get Borussia Dortmund, so that leaves down. So there's either RB Salzburg, Shakhtar Donetsk, Milan, Inter, Napoli, Sporting, and Benfica. From obviously you want to have as easy group as possible. So I mean, obviously you want Salzburg. It'd be nice if I could get away. Salzburg would be interesting. Oh, Atletico Madrid get Porto. That would be interesting for them, because they're going to kill the shit out of that team. Atletico Madrid, they are. I'm sorry, Atletico Madrid. You have the problem is, because you've got pot 2 teams who realistically should be seeded in pot 1, but because they don't win the league title or Champions League or the Europa League, they're in pot 2. So that makes it a bit easier for, obviously, but that way but then you're more guaranteed to have like the better teams go through to the knockout stages, or better teams on paper. So no, I mean, do you know what? Napoli will be interesting just to see, because I think Tanguy Ndombele, he's just going to turn up against us. You just know he's going to score against us. You just know it.
Written in the stars, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's assuming he won't. Well, because the thing is, he didn't pull up any trees at Lyon. I mean, I saw him play West Ham, and he barely did anything as West Ham. So you got to think, what is he going to
do? Okay, Napoli have been pulled out. Okay.
Oh. It's going to be.
Have A, B, C, or D.
So is that us?
Yeah, they could be drawn with us. Yeah.
A, B, C, or D.
And it is. Alton Top's got the ball out. He's doing it now. And it's going to be Group. I'll take your time, man. Group A. So they're going to be in there with
Ajax. Okay. That's a shame. I mean, obviously that would have been nice. So yeah. Well, Tissy, you not. We'll probably get to play Napoli at some point.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't want to hear.
Would have been cool to visit the south of Italy. I've been to about 5 different teams in the north, and obviously Roma and Lazio, who are in the centre. Salzburg, okay. They're the only Austrian side there, so they should have all the groups available to them. No, yeah, they do. Yes.
Oh, actually, do you know what? I must say, have you been to Marseille? Because their fans are completely bonkers, apparently.
Yeah, the Velodrome Stadium looks spectacular. I want to visit that place, man.
And do you know what? You will have wonderful bouillabaisse. Oh, Napoli get to play. So it'll be the Tottenham reunion, because you've got Napoli playing against Tanguy Ndombele playing Steven Bergwijn's Ajax. So that'll be quite interesting, actually. And do you know what? There's some interesting games, actually, because I think Ajax and Napoli are going to be battling out for second. I don't see anyone in that top 4 that can really, challenge them. Maybe Marseille, maybe.
Yeah, Salzburg have been drawn into Milan and Chelsea's group, by the way, in Group E. So that's
RB Salzburg. So that's actually good for us. I mean, Chelsea. I mean, I think Chelsea will be very happy with that. And Porto, so who are we going to get then? I actually buy Leverkusen because I think we owe them. They actually knocked us out of Champions League. We had a draw against them. No, we drew against them at Bayer Leverkusen, and then we lost to them at home. And this is the first time in the Champions League, and we really struggled or something. But then that didn't have that. They're in a war or a tea break. Probably, yeah.
They are taking their time over, but yeah, I think that was Benfica. They've been drawn in Group H.
Group H, isn't that? Oh, that's PSG and Juventus. Oh, Benfica, actually, I'm trying to think who. Oh, I'm trying to think who. So I know Benfica more for the players they've lost, like Ruben Diaz.
Yeah. They lose good players.
Yeah, they lose good players. But Jan Vertonghen, actually. Oh, so Jan Vertonghen has a chance to avenge Poch. I would have been nice, actually, because it would have been a bit awkward. It would have been a bit awkward though, playing against Jan, though. It would have been a bit awkward. Imagine having Kulusevski literally murking Jan. That'd be like, no, just go easy on him. Do you know what I mean? He's one of our own. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it'll be interesting to see them.
AC Milan and Chelsea. That's been because you got to wonder now, like
Dortmund, by the way.
Yeah. Pardon?
Man City, Sevilla, and Borussia Dortmund.
Oh, that's going to be it. Actually, because Borussia Dortmund though, their players at Haller, who's really sad actually. He joined them to replace Haaland, and then they did a medical on him, and then they found out he had testicular cancer. So he's actually going to miss. I think not only will he miss the German, I think is he a German or French international? I can't remember.
He's French.
He's French, so I don't think he was ever going to play. He's not good enough to play for France. I mean, what talent they've got. I think he's going to miss the group stages anyway because he's having treatment. But there will be a lot of interest from him because I think just for him to watch the thing. Oh, Benfica, PSG, and Juventus.
Be alongside Porto and Atletico Madrid. So get well soon, Halle. I mean, that was very unfortunate. Sporting.
That's really sad. Well, there's quite a few players. I mean, obviously there was Sol Bamba 2 years ago, Neil Harris, because obviously I remember from Millwall, obviously, and I think those who don't know, so friends of ours at the Annie, they do like a bike ride from London to Amsterdam for prostate cancer. So check it downstairs, whether it's your prostate, your balls, check it for lumps, and because that's something men do not do anyway. They play with their balls, they never check them.
Group D, who was that? Sorry, that was
Eintracht Frankfurt.
Lisbon.
Oh, Benfica. So that's going to be interesting actually. Benfica. We get Benfica.
Sporting Lisbon.
Sporting Lisbon. Oh, the Eric Dyer derby.
Yep.
A friend of it's really because a friend of mine. I'm going to check out. His name's Mike. I'm going to see if I can find. I've got to look up his internet. I've got to look up his Twitter handle. But a buddy of mine, Mike. He's a big Sporting Lisbon fan. And do you know? I actually asked them because my friend of mine, Ryan, he's a Porto fan. I said, like, do you two like hate Benfica more than you hate the other two? You hate each other? Because no, we all hate each other, but we tend to hate Bayern Munich. We hate Benfica a little bit more.
I believe that actually. Shakhtar were drawn in the same group as Leipzig and Real Madrid, and Inter Milan have just been drawn out because I find out where they're going to be placed.
Also, it's a Sporting Lisbon. I don't actually. Is that the team? Is that the team? Wait, did Marcus Edward go to Sporting Lisbon? I can't remember.
He did, yeah.
Oh, that would be interesting actually. See, because obviously Marcus Edwards, the English Messi, as apparently he was called. It was a shame, really, because it didn't. He's at Sporting Lisbon, and for some reason he didn't kick on for him for some bizarre reason.
No. Okay, so those group teams have been drawn in as follows. They're all rolling around across the bottom, of course. They're looking at pot 4 now, but Group D sees Eintracht Frankfurt, Tottenham, and Sporting Lisbon there. So we're all going to Portugal, and we're all going to Germany. Just one more pot to be drawn, and then we shall find out where we shall.
So that's open actually, because obviously we can get. I think there's no German sides in pot 4. I can see.
There's none. No, it's. Either Celtic, I think the teams that we could play: Celtic, Rangers, Marseille, Bruges. Actually, it's pretty much open.
It's open, yeah.
Hmm.
Or Inter Milan, Bayern Munich, and Barcelona. Wow, that is actually, you've got three former. You got all three of them are champions. Were former champions.
Yep.
Inter
Yep.
Milan and Barcelona have a huge history together, obviously, because obviously Pep and Jose. Obviously Bayern Munich. I mean, that was, I remember that because I remember that it was the 2013. But was it Real Madrid played for Borussia Dortmund and got absolutely slapped by Borussia Dortmund, and Bayern Munich played Barcelona or something, and they absolutely slapped Barcelona. And then obviously, and then they obviously played against each other, and it was very weird because I think there was a player at Borussia Dortmund. He scored the World Cup winner in 2014. I forgot his name now, but he was scored in the final. But he was due to join Bayern Munich, so they couldn't even play him either because he was so awkward. He was going to leave Bayern Munich to join the Borussia Dortmund final with 3. So that was kind of handicapped them anyway. I think because Gundogan was playing, I think, and Gundogan was playing for Bayern Munich. No, Robben was playing for Bayern Munich, and Gundogan was playing for Borussia Dortmund.
Also, the winner. And they could play in any other groups. Yeah, of course. So carry on.
Shakhtar Donetsk. That's the interesting because Real Madrid. That's actually a very. I mean, it'd be interesting. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I don't know who Donetsk still have actually in terms of their players because they obviously they're famous for having loads of Brazilian players because that's just how they roll. But it'll be interesting who they have.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I mean, I watched a documentary on them. I think when what's the name? Oh, that Portuguese manager was about to join us. Group F. Okay, so Celtic will be in Group F alongside Real Madrid, Leipzig, and Shakhtar Donetsk.
That's going to be interesting.
Unfortunately,
I mean, you got to think you got to think Celtic will fancy their chances though, because you get. I mean, I've never been to Parkhead, but the noise that place can make is going to be phenomenal.
Home matches, I can see them getting battered away from home, so it's going to leave everything in the balance, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think they beat Man City when Man City under Pep, when Man City was unbeatable or something. So I mean, I think if we get Maccabi Haifa, that would be, I don't know. I'm not going to overlook them, but you should think you can be able to beat that side.
Yeah, true. Okay, let's have it. Yes, Marseille are in our group. I get to go to the Velodrome.
Marseille. So instead of actually having the difficult team, you only want Marseille. Actually, do you know what? Marseille. Yeah, do you know what? No, do you know what? So Marseille, former champions. Obviously, there's a history between us. We sold Chrissie Waddle to them to Scholar sold him Chrissie Waddle to keep us afloat, kind of thing.
Yeah.
One of the many things he did to try and keep us afloat. He's the one that put us into debt in the first place. But no, that would be. Do you know what? Honestly, Marseille, Benfica, they're going to be tough. Marseille and Sporting Lisbon, they're going to be tough times. I mean, I think Marseille. I'm trying to think. Is there thing still playing for them? That West Ham player. I forgot his name now.
Yes, he does.
He plays for them, so that would be interesting to see how he does. Because I think he obviously will be fired up to play against us.
Well, you think so, but I don't know. I don't actually. I've actually kept tabs on him. I'm not quite sure if he's still enjoying life or whether he's just going through the motions there. But yeah, he'll be a dangerous player to watch out for sure. Group G. So Copenhagen will be going in Group G in Manchester City's group.
Yeah, I can't exactly. Oh god, that's actually that would be interesting because you got Copenhagen. I don't know who Copenhagen play as well, but Sevilla. Obviously, people are assuming Man City are going to walk it, and why wouldn't they? But Haaland is going to be going back to his old club. People forget about that.
Yeah, true.
And I think Marseille, I don't know, Chris, why are you cheering? Yeah, I was questioning that as well because I wanted Maccabi Haifa. That's who I wanted.
I'm because I've always wanted to Velodrome, and it's the south of France as well. So you're going to be warm, right?
And you know, you play the Champions League to play the best. And you know what? We've managed to avoid the really dangerous teams, and yeah, from pot one. Of all the teams, pot one you wanted, you really did want Eintracht Frankfurt. Yeah,
and that's what I got. Yeah.
So I can't say. And Sporting Lisbon, obviously, that's thing will know them very, very well.
Group B there has been drawn for Club Brugge. So that group is complete as well.
Okay, oh, that would have been nice. Yeah. Oh, it's a Group B, Club Brugge. Okay. Atletico, you think Atletico are going to walk that, but I think it'll be a tough. I mean, obviously, we have history of Ajax. Do we know the dates of the matches? I don't know the dates of the matches, I'm afraid.
Haven't done that yet, so
they'll do that. Yeah, we apply. So those from Olympique de Marseille. So basically, the way it works, I think Marseille actually are an actual sports club itself. So they have like a volleyball team. I think they have. I think they have other teams. They have a basketball team as well.
Liverpool, Battle of Britain.
Oh, Liverpool get Rangers. Oh my God! Could you? I'm not being bad. And you imagine like there'll be a Scottish invasion. I'm sorry, that's going to be hilarious. Just to see the rocks between the Glasgow Rangers, because I think so. I don't. So Liverpool is famous for being predominantly Irish.
Catholic,
Irish Catholic, anyway, Irish and Irish Catholic, and so that would be interesting because obviously you've got Rangers who are known for being Protestant. So could you imagine? I don't. Hopefully, we will not see anyone playing the flute. That's just as long as he does. No one else. Unless you live in the British Isles, no one's going to know what that means. But yeah.
Oh no! I mean, Gascoigne playing for them any longer, so there will be no danger of that.
But no, Club Brugge. Do you know what? There's some really good side. There's some really good football. I mean, Club Brugge, isn't that where no, because that's Toby actually. Toby has a Toby Alderweireld. That's where he came from, or he played against them when Toby was there. Or something.
Dinamo Zagreb have been placed in AC Milan's group with Chelsea in Group E.
Interesting, because obviously, I think Dinamo Zagreb had a very good player that we linked to Danny Olmo, and then he went to. It's unusual because he was a Spanish player that was playing at Zagreb.
Yes.
And then he actually went to Borussia Dortmund anyway. So Rangers they're going to Group A. Do you know what? Rangers didn't like. Rangers beat PSV in in Holland, so they can get results. They're interesting because didn't their striker or something? He wasn't fair or he had a bad attitude, so they didn't play him. So literally, what's his name? Giovanni van Bronckhorst. He doesn't fuck around. He literally said, "Your attitude stinks. I'm not playing you," and that was a huge risk. But that's what I'm saying. Put your balls on the line.
Okay, Maccabi Haifa have been drawn into Group H alongside PSG and Juventus and Benfica.
Oh my God, they're going to be the whipping boys.
They are going to get murdered.
God. Yeah, that is not going to be an easy tie for them. But you know what? I think for them though, to have PSG, the glamour of like Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, Juventus obviously having Vlahovic.
We'll love it. Victoria Pletzen, the Czech Republic side.
Marseille joined Spurs group. Actually, I haven't even yet. But they are. Although, wasn't there something dodgy about that? They had that Marseille because there was something dodgy about how they won the Champions League or something.
No, it's more to do with how they won their own league.
Oh, okay.
They kind of, I think they bribed a referee or bribed a team, and that was and then it was found out that that's how they qualified for the Champions League. So then they were stripped of it.
Or the Champions League itself as well.
Yeah, because they qualified under false pretenses. Okay, so that's the draw has been concluded.
So yeah, I must admit. I mean, I think if Chrissie Waddle isn't doing some kind of Spurs Q&A, like a fan meet and greet before that game, that's going to be a complete waste. I mean, that is the Chris Waddle derby, isn't it? That is. I mean, like we have spoiled. Wait, where did Joe Dominguez come from? Joe Dominguez. Who did he come from? I don't remember. Remember Joe Dominguez?
Jose Dominguez. Yeah, he was Sporting Lisbon. I'm sure he was.
Huh. He probably hasn't got good memories of Spurs. Probably didn't do that well with us originally, but.
But
I chose Frankfurt. That is. Do you know what? I will take that group. I mean, if you look at that, I mean, there are some seriously difficult groups. I mean, I think we've managed to avoid the European champions, but then again, we beat the European champions at Wembley, and that was. Those of you who don't know, I had this thing. My friends Barry, my Bacon Spurs. Here I was like that. I love basketball. We play like mock frenemies and stuff like that. I said, Daniel Barry, why are my best European memories of you? Yeah, because obviously being Real Madrid, and then obviously the Ajax, and I was watching it in his bar in Hoboken, because I know it's terrible. I think, can you imagine? Oh, my best European memories are with you as well. Yeah. Do you know what? I gotta say, but by the way, be careful if you go to Marseille. Their fans are bonkers. They actually have ultras, seriously scary ultras. They are seriously they will look to make a name, and they will look to be. I mean, look. I mean, it's not as if we're like the Zulus from Birmingham City or like, you know what I mean, Chelsea headhunters, but we have a reputation back in the day as well. So it'll be interesting what happens to that. I mean, obviously, wasn't there some problem with the French police in for the Paris final or something? There was some big bust up in hoo-ha or something. There was some big problem or something for Liverpool fans, something. So I don't know what police will be like for that game, but no, yeah. I mean, Sporting Lisbon, apparently, I think so. Guys, you can actually become a member of Sporting Lisbon apparently and get tickets. We'll be sat with Sporting Lisbon fans, and apparently they're really nice as well. Yes, that is it. That is it. We are. So Chris, do you want to pick your winner from group? We should go for the groups and say who do we think are going to win each group.
Yeah, why not? It's going to be. It looks like it's going to be quite an exciting tournament, really. So so Group A, we have Ajax, Liverpool, Napoli, and Rangers. And
it's got Liverpool, isn't it?
It's got Liverpool. You say that, but the way that Liverpool, I know Liverpool can still grow into it, and you can't really dismiss and you can't really like judge everything after just 3 games. But they have started off in a way that where there's like a disconnect between their forwards and their back line, really, especially with Trent just running.
Bobby Firmino, he clearly looks like he's been absolutely knackered, and it's as if they haven't figured out how to play with Nunez. And because the thing is, here's the thing: when all 3 players have speed, that works. But when you have 2 players of speed and one that doesn't, you've got to hope that player that hasn't got speed can do something else with the ball, which is what Harry Kane does, obviously for us. But no, so I'm going to go Liverpool for that one. Group B: Atletico Madrid, Porto, Bayer Leverkusen, and Bruges.
You have to say, I always see whenever I watch Atletico Madrid, it always seems to be like such a mixed performance. It just never seems to be, and if they win, it's never.
It shows like João Felix. I mean, I actually said like João Felix was who went for Benfica, and I think he'll be fired up to play Porto because obviously that's Benfica's rivals, obviously.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see how that happens. I mean, but I can't really look past Atletico Madrid. Group C: Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and Inter Milan.
Alongside Victoria Plitzen. I think we just dismissed Victoria Plitzen. Apologies to Victoria Plitzen fans out there, but I can't really see you getting the better of the other 3. Bayern Munich, they're just scoring goals for fun at the moment. And Barcelona, looks like they're just going to go on pure adrenaline by the looks of it and just feed off the hatred of everybody else around them. But Inter Milan, they're probably the dark horses in
I
that
will.
one. But
I tell you what, Inter Milan. That was interesting because you got Inter Milan with Lukaku, and you've got I forgot the name of their player. Is it Martinez, the other striker?
Martinez, yeah, the other striker.
Yeah, Larry Martinez. So they've still got Brozovic. They've got Barella. They've got Bastoni, who we were linked with. So they are definitely no one to. Oh, I congratulate Serena Williams, Europa Women's Coach of the Year.
Oh, nice.
Came home. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Bayern Munich, but honestly, do you know what? It's a tough group to say who I'm second. I think Group B, I'm gonna go Porto to finish second. Group A, I'm going Napoli to finish second. I think Napoli, they've got some really, because I think they were going to sign Kim Min-jae. Then they've got, and they sold Koulibaly, but they've got some, I wouldn't look past them. But Rangers as well. I mean, like Rangers, at Ibrox, it's so intimidating. It'll be bloody cold as well, especially if there's winter ones. You know what I mean? So, and imagine like that's going to Rangers. Like, yeah, it's too cool. They took it. So yeah. Group D. All right, we'll leave us to last. I'll talk about us last, but I think Group E, AC Milan, Salzburg, Dinamo Zagreb. It'll be interesting because obviously Milan are chasing Jafet Tanganga on loan. I think we're trying to have an obligation to buy or option to buy or obligation. So they're obviously looking to strengthen. It does say something though. When you're not, I'm not even bad. When you're looking to loan, not buy, loan Jafet Tanganga. You ain't got a lot of money going for you, have you? You know what I mean? So I think they're going to look at this. They're going to look at this as like, let's just get as much money as we can. Let's finish second. Let's get to the knockout stages, do as well as we can. I think Chelsea. I don't know who they're going to sign next because Chelsea do need another 9. Because yes, I mean they are, obviously forget the Leeds game. They are struggling to score goals. They are struggling. So interesting if they do get a number 9 and who they can get. Because I think Aubameyang has been linked with them, and I think that'll be interesting if they get Aubameyang. Champions League, because he hasn't played that for a couple of years, obviously. Because Barcelona won it last year. Obviously, Arsenal have not been in it for a few good years. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see if that happen. Group F, RB Leipzig, Real Madrid, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Celtic. I think you can't look past Real Madrid. That's Real Madrid, isn't it? I think second. It's interesting because you obviously don't know Shakhtar Donetsk. I don't know nothing about them, who they've lost, probably because of the Ukraine war. And obviously, they're not playing at home, but obviously they've got they are the neutral's favourite kind of thing. If you're not playing against them, you're rooting for them a little bit. Leipzig, they're a solid team. They've got there are a lot of people in their shop window. I think Nkunku still there, very good player. And Celtic, our very own Cameron Carter-Vickers, who could barely even get a game for us at all, was playing. Was generally playing Bournemouth. He wasn't even playing playing in league, in the Championship. And now he's playing the Champions League. Man City, Sevilla, Dortmund, Copenhagen. Obviously, I think Man City are going to pretty much walk that. Pretty much.
You expect them to anyway.
I think it'll be interesting because Sevilla and Dortmund, because I don't know who Sevilla even have anymore. I don't. I mean, Lopetegui's a very good manager. Very, very good manager. And I think and who knows, they might end up signing some people like Pau Torres and those guys. They'll still be up for grabs. So, but they haven't signed them yet, so we'll see. Group H, PSG, Juventus, Benfica, Maccabi Haifa. On paper, you'd say PSG. PSG, but
dismiss Maccabi Haifa out of that one. I think they're going to get pummeled in every match. But
I think they're there to make up the numbers. Realistically, they are there to make up. Look, I think one of the things that you don't have any Russian teams in anymore is that you're going to have teams like Victoria Plzen, like Maccabi Haifa, like Rangers. Being able to get into things. Russia not being there however long, and who knows how long they might be out of it. Hopefully, for me, I'm going to say this now. Russian sports teams are not responsible for what Putin does. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're going to send a message, That's just a way of sending a message. It's because I think for me, and this is me going a political thing, you're banning Russian sports teams from playing, but loads of European countries are still buying Russian gas.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? There's no hypocrisy there. But no, I mean, I think let's look at Group D. I can't think of any sport apart from Marcus Edwards, the Marcus Edwards derby. I cannot think, and obviously Dimitri Payet from Marseille. I don't know it. I think wasn't it there's a Tovan, Florian Tovan. Was he playing for Marseille? I know he came to Newcastle and he was absolute disaster for Steve Bruce, or whoever the manager was. Like bad disciplinary issues, everything.
It is, yeah. I mean, that is going to be, and for me, it's going to be an interesting group. I mean, the case of Eintracht Frankfurt, of course, the defending Europa League champions. You got Sporting Lisbon, who are they the Portuguese champions?
I think that's Benfica. I think it's Benfica.
Okay, so they must have finished least runners up then. And then you
got.
No,
they might finish third. I think they might finish third because there's three. I'm looking. I'm just having a look.
Yeah, I assume that they're stronger of the outfit. But and then you got Marseille, and Marseille. They're the side that you kind of think they're kind of like going to be like the dark horses, where you're not quite sure what you're going to get with them.
I'm actually looking at the Marseille their squad. I mean, Mario Götze, that was the guy. Mario Götze, he was the one that scored the win in the World Cup final. I don't know. Do you know what? I must admit, I'm looking at this team. I don't know a lot of their players. I think Filip Kostic. I think he ended up moving. I think he went. Did he go to West Ham? I don't remember.
Well, no, I'm sure he left anyway. Yeah. The draw was done a little while ago. We just completed the final results are at the bottom there. As you can see, you're scrolling across the ticker tape. So we've been drawn with Eintracht Frankfurt, Marseille, which I'm kind of happy about just because I want to go to the south of France, and Sporting Lisbon. Sorry, not Sporting Lisbon, Benfica. Sporting Club de Portugal.
I'm looking at the current first team squad for Eric Bailly. Actually, he's on loan from Man United. Dimitri Payet. Wait, oh my God, Bil. No, I've actually Luis Suarez because I saw Colombian and he's not the different Luis Suarez. Different one. I'm trying to think. Jordan Amavi. I remember that player because he played for Aston Villa. I knew I recognised the name. Oh, Alexis Sanchez. Interesting. He'll be.
He started literally a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, and Matteo Guendouzi, who obviously played for Arsenal. Sideshow Bob, as we call him.
Yeah, he signed for them.
Ardish Milik. He's actually a very good striker. Actually, people obviously know Lewandowski a lot better, but he's a very good striker. You wouldn't look past him. And Cengiz Under. Oh, Paul Lopez actually played for us as well. Actually, Paul Lopez, who played for us. We never signed him.
Yeah.
Cengiz Under, very good player as well. I'm trying to think who he played for. I know he was at Rome. That was it. He went to Leicester for a little bit, but they never.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever signed him actually. But I'm trying to think. So no, there's I'm just going to go for the Sporting Lisbon squad as well. Obviously, Marcus Edwards, we know we actually, the thing is, we never just saw him play, did we? I don't think anyone actually saw him play that much.
We did see him play a couple of times, just in the FA Cup. Mostly in the FA Cup.
It'll be interesting because Marcus Edwards, because he was a player that, because I said, should we sign him back from Victoria Guimaraes? This was last season. This is when we signed Brian Hill instead. We chose to sign, but just have a look at the Sporting, because I think that'll be interesting. I think Marcus Edwards, obviously, he's got obviously big ties with us. Obviously, came for our academy. I'm just looking at the current squad. No one I really recognise really. Luis Neto, he's a Portuguese national footballer. They've got there's no one that really sticks out. Obviously, Marcus Edwards is the only one that sticks out, but he only sticks out because we know he played for us. Sebastian Coates, he actually, I remember he was playing. He played at Liverpool. No, not Liverpool. He played Liverpool and Sunderland as well.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
I think he was signed by Dalglish or something. He was signed by Dalglish. Yeah, I remember that now. He's still playing, so that's interesting. So they actually have 4 Uruguayan players, so that'll be interesting for obviously for Rodrigo Bentancur in terms of the players that he knows. But no, I mean, I think we avoided the real big guns from which is everything everybody wanted to avoid, and I think we should be. I'm not saying we'll come out of this out of canter. I don't think we'll do that. It's Tottenham. I remember we played. I think who did we play? This is our first back to if I'm in the Champions League. We got to the group stages. I remember it was. Was it Wolfsburg? No, we played a German side. I think it was Inter Milan, SJ20, who we drew with, and then we beat them at home. I remember Rafa van der Vaart got sent off in that game. I was actually at that game. I was at that game. I'm trying to think. So yeah, it was Rafa van der Vaart sent off, and then obviously there was that whole. Then the next game was the Bale game, which even though we lost, that's remembered more for the Gareth Bale hat trick. That's when he announced himself on the international team.
I was at that game. That was my first ever European trip by myself, and what a game that was.
But yeah, I mean, just in saying, spoilers, but that is the Mark Edwards derby. I mean, that is, I don't think we can. I mean, I think it's a fallacy to say look past any of these teams. I think it's a fallacy. They're good sides. They are teams that, on paper, we should be confident in beating, but at the same time, we should have beaten that team. I think it's Dinamo Zagreb was the other guys that knocked us out of the Europa League, didn't they? Well, their gaffer was in jail or something at the time, and then they knocked us out. Was that the team?
And still lost the second leg 3-0. It was painful, pathetic, and painful. So yeah, that's what. Watching at home there, that's the group at the bottom that we've been drawn in, Group D. So we're in the red group. So I'm not quite sure how that alternates with the days that we're playing. So we've been drawn against the top seed Eintracht Frankfurt. We're obviously number 2, and then a Sporting Club de Portugal, or Sporting Lisbon as we like to call it, and Olympique Marseille.
Olympique de Marseille. They're Marseille. And there's another Paulinho, but he's not the Paulinho that we had that played for us. No, I mean, I don't. Look, I'm not going to look past any of their players. And Mateus Rice, I'm trying to see if I remember that name. Because I said Quartes rang a bell because I just remember him. But no, there aren't many players. I mean, this has been, but this is Pedro Goncalves. I think we were linked. Oh my God, this guy! Oh my God, of all names, he's a footballer. I thought his name was linked to Pet Pele. I don't know. He's not Pet. Yeah, Goncalves actually played for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Actually, he only played there for a year, and he was actually, but there's no players that I can look at and I think, oh no, actually, I think that your Sporting Lisbon, they won it 2 years ago. Second the league. No, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, see what happens and how they play. I mean, I don't know their manager, Ruben Amorim. He's a former player. I wonder if he actually played with. No, I don't think he wouldn't have played. No, he didn't play with Heredia. He actually played for Benfica, I believe.
Okay.
But so no, it'll be interesting. Like I said, I think Heredia. I mean, I'll be on to see what he thinks because obviously he is famous because one about Heredia is people don't think of me as a foreign footballer because I'm English, but I've actually played most of my career abroad, so I actually am a foreign player. I just happen to be English. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if he responded or not because obviously,
Yeah, that'll be a good trip. So there's a couple of good trips there. So that it's just all about taking. Well, all these sides, just based on what I can see, we shouldn't be losing to any of them at home. is the away trips that I'm worried about.
We shouldn't be, but this is Tottenham, so anything can happen.
It's true. It's just the
away
game.
I think what it was though. I think one of the things that when we were back in the Champions League, we were playing at Wembley for the first two or three seasons, and it took time for us to kind of get used to Wembley, as in like people would elevate themselves because it's the home of English football, and people would elevate their games because oh my god, we're playing at Wembley, and it wasn't our home yet. People didn't know where they were going to stand. And then the next year when we actually did move, was it the next year? Yeah, the next year when we did move, it was our home, but then people were still working out their rhythms, and then the next year we were meant to come back home, and we hadn't yet. It was 2018, 2019. So everyone was like, I remember that because I remember the last game I was at for Wembley was the Arsenal game, North London derby, and like I think the pub was sick of us, we were sick of them. We just wanted to go home. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of what it was for us.
Yeah, true. I think it was midway through that season you mentioned that we switched from Wembley to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it was kind of mixed, really. I mean, we beat Man City in the quarterfinals.
Lost Ajax, yeah.
So
I blame me going to Chicago Spurs. I went to so every time I've gone to Chicago Spurs to watch matches with them, we've lost every single game. But here's something that really is something interesting. They just announced that Dele Alli is obviously he was obviously presented at Besiktas. Dele Alli set up. I think he scored against Real Madrid. He set up a final goal against Real Madrid. Featured heavily in the Champions League. Was the assist for Lucas Moura to get us to the final. And now he's playing at Besiktas, which is no insult to them, but there are no Turkish sides that I can see in the Champions League group stages. There's no Galatasaray, there's no Besiktas, there's no Fenerbahce. Yeah, that is how far he's actually fallen. You know, which I think says a lot really for their league. So
obviously, good luck to Dele when he goes to the Besiktas. But I just hope he discovers his love for football again, really, because
like Marcus Edwards, who basically they sent home from Norwich. He was really struggling at Norwich. He then went to Victoria de Guimarães, and he's actually from Enfield. Actually, I didn't realise he's from Enfield. And he's 4 or 5 years younger than 3-4 years younger than Dele Alli, and now he's playing the Champions League. And who knows? He might decide. You know what? Because the fact that he's now playing because he's gone to Portugal. I think because the way it worked is that we got half his fee, so we got 4 million for him. But if he does well in the Champions League, obviously he's going to go on to do even better, and he might end up coming home, going to another team. That's what I'm saying. You can go from being Dele Alli was 20 or 21 when he was playing in the Champions League. He went from playing literally for MK Dons a year before. They had that amazing season with us, and then he was playing the Champions League, and he got some sent off. And it was just, it's going to be interesting. I mean, do you see us making any more signings? Anyone else leaving in this window?
Yeah, there will be a couple. I imagine that will be leaving. I can still see. I mean, there's an offer for Winks. I understand from Sampdoria in Italy, and for some reason he's mulling it over. I would have kind of hoped that.
I don't blame. I think so. I think because basically, I think it's about the wages though, because no way Sampdoria can afford his wages. There's no way they can afford his wages.
He's hoping for a team in the Premier League to come in for him. No one's come in as yet, so I kind of thought that if he wants to play football and get himself fit, because his main aim is to play in the World Cup, isn't it? So if he still has that ambition, go to Sampdoria. But I don't have an issue with him, and I wanted to see him succeed, but obviously he's not fancied by Conte, and so it would be better to get some minutes in his legs.
And again, Harry Winks I think he wasn't man of the match against Real Madrid, but had 2 stellar performances in the Champions League. Because I mean, obviously, 2 years before he came to prominence, he I think that was it. The year before he was making his debut for the first team in I think I think the Europa League against, I can't remember, so some team from Azerbaijan or somewhere, one of those countries. And then the following year, he basically scored. He started to break into the first team. Ryan Mason had gone. He was getting more and more games, and and then he was someone that we could really see the team being built around. And that's the thing. I mean, after that injury against Burnley, he was never the same player. Never the same player again.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just unfortunate, really. But I wish him no ill. I wish him good luck in his future endeavours.
The way I look at it, anyone that puts on the lily white and puts a bit of effort. The only thing that people will criticise you for if you don't put effort in, and I think that's the only thing with Tongi Ndombele, that Morecambe game when he just literally didn't give a shit and just didn't turn up, and I was just like, that's it. I think you're done here, buddy. But like I said, but hopefully there's a player there. There is nothing worse than talent that you don't realise. Not because you don't want to go like football will move on, players will move on. But you know what? If you have a talent and you have a gift, cherish that gift. Because there are people that I'll blink and I'll be 60 and I won't achieve anything in my life. I mean, not of any significance. But you have a gift like that, gift to play football, you want to make the most of it. So so I'm going to shoot off now. Thank you, Chris, for having me on. Well, Chris actually insisted I be on because I've been very neglectful of my supplement duties. And so take care. So people can find me. I am at The Real Shabon, and Crisandro is at, oh God, I should remember this now. Oh, I should remember this. Chris, CRSINDRO. But that isn't that. It's either your Twitter. That's not your. That's either your Twitter handle, but that's not the Twitter identity, though, is it? Or is it? I can never remember. I'm sorry.
Or 23. So that's me on Twitter and on Instagram, and obviously we're both on.
Yeah, and by the way, if you do have me on Twitter, I'm really sorry. I don't see people who add me on Twitter until like 6 days later. And so if I don't follow a bunch of people, it's not because I'm not following you. It's because I don't see who've added me. So that's why I haven't followed back. So bear with me a week. And if you're part of the supplement, whether on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, whatever, be respectful to each other, be kind, and hopefully we'll see if we play Forest, which is the Chris derby. And it'll be interesting. I don't know if Sergio Reguilon will have registered in time. I don't think he will have registered in time for that, will he? Sergio Reguilon?
I know they've had talks. I don't actually know if they've actually offered anything as yet, but they probably wouldn't have registered in time by then. So
I think they have to present their squad by the Friday, and even if he's registered, he's not going to be fully match fit anyway. I mean, he hasn't played. He was at Villarreal, and obviously they chose not to re-sign him, and they said, bye bye. And I think who else? Sergio Reguilon. Ironically, because I think they used to call Sergio Reguilon Reggie because there already was a Serge, or they couldn't call him Serge, they just call him Reggie because there already was a Serge at the club. And in fact, he ends up joining Nottingham Forest, which is he has been linked with. So that'll be interesting. So but you're going up to Nottingham Forest, it's the City Ground. I think it's about 2.5, 3 hours on the M1. Please be safe. I think the trains are running. I think the trains are running. There's no train strike, I don't think.
And for everyone on the channel, we will be having a vlog at the end of that. That should be released either that night or the next day. So keep an eye out for that one. But thanks everyone for joining us here on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Hope you are happy with the draw. The draw is right. The results right down there. That's the 3 teams that we're playing. So let us know what you think. Let us know in the group. Let us know on YouTube. Let us know on Twitter as well what you think. Will we get out of the group? How far do you think we'll get? Will we win it? Where's your ambition lie in this one? Let us all know, and we shall find out. But thanks, Shubes, for joining me. And let's see what happens. Come on, you Spurs, and you all take care.
Okay. Are we done now? Can I take off these fucking headphones?
Almost.